Awesome. Okay. Hello and welcome to this very special conversation in honor of Men's Mental Health Month for the month of June, as well as Minority Mental Health Awareness Month in July. Today, I am joined by Rashad. Is it Rashad or
Rashad,
Rashad?
Rashad.
Rashad Washington, a dedicated graduate clinical intern with You Can Too Professional Counseling Services. Today, we'll be exploring the unique challenges and opportunities for fostering emotional wellness in these spaces for Black men and boys. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. So let's ask a little few fun questions. What is your favorite song right now?
Hmm. I ain't gonna lie, it's like dang near anything that's Larry June.
Larry June.
Larry June, anytime he drops some music, it's always positive. It gets me going. So he got the song right now called Black Man. I enjoy that. It give me a little bounce and motivation to start my days.
Okay. So is Larry June a rapper?
Yes, he's a rapper from San Francisco.
Okay. I might
He
need to check.
always Yeah, he's always rapping about, taking care of yourself, whether it's mentally, physically, monitoring what you eat, having a smoothie, stuff like that.
Hey, I love that. And we definitely need more songs like that for our Black men. So I definitely need to check him out. I'm adding more songs to my music catalog.
Hmm.
All right. So for our next question, what do you do for self-care?
Well, I like I like just eating healthy, to be honest with you, eating healthy and going to the gym and just venturing off into my hobbies. So I enjoy looking at art or seeing people express their art. So like just looking at art galleries or even for me I've been picked up the bass guitar last October, so been teaching myself that. It's just I like either trying to express myself creatively, or I like enjoying other people who do it themselves, whether watching people perform with instruments or make their music, or just any way people find ways to express their creative outlet. It it just motivate me and inspire me. So I say it's a form of self-care to keep me going.
Okay, that is beautiful. So what inspired you to pick up a bass guitar to start learning that?
I'd say really on the fact that I wasn't exposed to instruments as a kid, but I did play Guitar Hero, so I enjoyed that. So it was one of those like, wanna we only live once, so let's just try to make it the best experience and challenge ourselves in new creative ways. So yeah, I wanted to find a way to learn an instrument, maybe one day possibly learn a new language. Like I just enjoy just learning new things.
Awesome, awesome. That is beautiful. We should definitely be learning anything as we get older, not just professionally, but also just for fun. You've definitely inspired me to try to learn an instrument because I don't know not near one, but I've always loved music. So thanks for that tidbit.
Yeah, I be bouncing between that, and I started out with a piano. I wouldn't even mind, doing the DJ thing just to experience the joy of music, because it has an effect on all of us, whether we acknowledge it or not.
Definitely, definitely. That's why I tell people be careful what you listen to. There's so many things that can like affect your mood. I have a playlist for when I'm feeling kind of sad. I have a playlist for when I need to like give myself confidence. I have a playlist for everything. I have a playlist for my gym. All of it makes a difference. And I always like am curious of what people listen to because it gives you like insight into their mind.
Absolutely. Like, made me think of those videos you kind of see on the internet where people ask people in the gym, what are they listening to? You can gauge what they going through based off of that.
Yes, and I always like the unexpected ones. It might be like a black girl and you think she's listening to trap and she's listening to like country music or metal. And I'm like, hey, if that's what keeps you pumping, do it.
Hmm. Yeah.
All right. So during our meeting conversation when we first met, we discovered that we were both first generation college graduates in our family. Can you explain what experience was like for you?
I think my experience was a bit challenging in the sense as Of course, I want to set a good example for my younger siblings, being that I'm the oldest, but it also is like, um, you know, people advocating for me to go to college, but I never really understood the importance of what the benefits could be, like the social networking and aspect. So like I'm just, I'm usually a natural introvert, stay to myself, stay to my friends, and it's over about 20 some thousand people on campus. And to be honest, I could care less to know them. But that's not, the real college experience. So it's kind of just stepping outside of your comfort zone, even down to like, being in the classroom with over 100 people. You're not getting that one-on-one help and stuff like that. So it was challenging as far as not trying to just blend in and step outside your comfort zone.
Okay. Understood, understood. I can definitely agree of like being introverted, being the first in your family, being the oldest. So we definitely share that in common as well too. And I definitely do understand the sentiment of like everyone you're feeling me, family advocating for you to go to college. Now, as a Black man, was there any programs that helped set you up for success to get into college, or was it something that you have to like navigate on your own?
I would say something that kind of set me up for success is I went to all black high school and they had a black young men's group for our seniors. So it was kind of teaching us how to dress professionally, how to present ourselves and stuff like that, and just how to, write a resume, fill out job applications, and just, how when to navigate in the world, like as far as professionally wise. I think that kind of helped mold me along with just college professors in a sense. I remember instance of, when I was struggling in class and I called my mom because I was like, hey, I don't know what to do. I don't even know if I'm gonna pass this class. She just told me, have you tried talking to the professor? And I never even thought about it, never even met the professor. I'm just one of his students in the class. And when did that, he was just like, if you show up to this tutorial, I'll pass you. And it happened to be a black professor at the time. So it was one of those like making my presence known and that I want to succeed can go a long way. And it kind of carried from what I was taught in high school of just, presenting yourself.
Awesome. That is beautiful. I'm so glad to hear about that. Now, do you mind mentioning what was the name of the program that you were in high school?
Yeah, it was called Blacks, just Black Senior Boys. That's what it was called.
Hey, simple, and effective. Honestly, that needs to be like a more recognized program because I know there's like My Brother's Keeper that kind of does like the same thing as well too, just not in every aspect of maybe in Houston because they're a little spread out. But those type of programs definitely do matter for Black individuals, Black youth, because it helped us get here today. Because I was a part of Upward Bound, which is like a
Mhm.
collegiate type of readiness program for high school students to prepare you for college. So same thing, disadvantaged background, grew up on the north side of Houston, but didn't know how the heck to get there. But luckily with that program, it got me there. But navigating through college, I'm glad that you was able to call your mom and call your professors because no one told me that. No one told me that at
Yeah, I
all.
called my mom straight up. Just I was about to fail out of school, and she was just like, she just gave me some advice, and I ran with it. So I think it's also, just having people that you actually respect their opinion as well, going to them and just being upfront about what you're going through, and they gonna give you some wild advice every now and then. Because that was wild to me. Like, man, I'm about the 200th student in the class. He ain't gonna know me if we walk past each other on the street. But just walking up to him, greeting him, and telling him what's going on and what's going on with my grades and how I would like to improve it was just like, all right, I hear you. I can work with that. I don't know you. If they don't know your problem, they can't help you fix it.
Amen. Amen. That's the greatest truth. So what inspired you to pursue a path in mental health?
I'd say my inspiration came from just being a role model to my younger siblings, as well as just going down the path of life myself, as far as being jobless, going through heartbreak, going through grief and stuff like that, is I had to work on myself and I had to do it by myself. And I just enjoyed the journey. I enjoyed the journey of self-development and trying to better myself. So that really motivated me to go down that path and then just uh, branching into different career fields, whether it's working with juvenile justice or working with young homeless adults. It kind of I was able to engage with them and see that I wasn't the only one uh, that had these troubles, but I feel like I was the only one that was really went through took the time to better myself. So I want to share that with others as well.
Hmm. Okay, so it sounds like you're saying that like through the personal circumstances that you went through and getting out of those situations and then also working with people that went through similar situations, it helped you to like grow and to connect with more people and try to provide that same kind of help to them. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's kind of like just being a navigation system for a compass that it can be done, and also kind of sharing what I did, and then just, help them understand it's okay to be vulnerable to these sides of yourself that you went through as well. And you can find a way to address it if you take the time to look at it head on or face to face and try to overcome it.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, definitely. Well, I know that your presence is making a world of difference in those type of spaces.
I
So
appreciate that.
I know you and I talked more about your background, like working with juvenile and working with homelessness population. What are some common misconceptions you may have noticed in those populations or in your personal life about Black men in association with mental health?
Well, I think it's really something that's not known. That's a tough one. I just go with the one that really is that Black men think they need to be strong just all the time. And that's what I come across with. I work with juveniles or the homeless young adult population. Black men believe that they can push past everything and they don't have to realize some emotional outlets they have, it'd be because of some hurt in the past that they haven't let go. And it just becomes their response to life. And they just keep adding on to that by when they can just heal that and operate or change their perspective if they choose to uh, not just be strong and push back past emotions, but be strong enough to address your emotions.
Hmm. That is true. That's very, very true. I know there's been like a lot of emotional suppression when it comes to Black men, as you said, like, being told to be strong, societal expectations of, not showing emotions. How can they have these kind of vulnerable conversations with the people that they love or in therapy? How do you think they could be able to address that?
Well, I think it can be addressed just simply off finding mentors or finding people you trust, role models, and just asking questions in a sense. You know what I'm saying? I think we look at each other even through the social media age and believe like people are always happy and they don't have battles they face. And just, being vulnerable and not being scared to for somebody to see the raw you, so to speak. Um, and just accept what comes with it after that, because at the end of the day, we can't really just get the help we need if we don't seek it, you know what I'm saying? Seek it from people or even seek it from God in a sense. God can't help you with your problems if you're not even willing to voice it to him as well.
Hmm. That's true. So
If you act
biggest
like
step.
you got it, you got it.
That's true. That's true. When we hold on to so much and then we crumble, and like that's when all the help comes. But it's like if they would have told us in the beginning, it's like okay, maybe I could have like found some type of path, some kind of easy way to help you.
Yeah, we don't
But
have to bump our head to learn lessons. Not all the time. Sometimes you can just watch somebody else and be like, all right, I know not to do that. Or
Mhm.
what would you wish you would have done different? And somebody can tell you this and you like, all right, I'm gonna do with that because that's sound more helpful. They learned their lesson. I shouldn't have to learn the same lesson they learned.
Right, right. Now, unfortunately, there may have been situations I come across a lot of Black men, personally, professionally, that said they've tried to open up in the past, maybe once or twice, some point in their life, and they got like a sense of rejection of trying to express emotion, and then it just came back into like a shell.
Mhm.
What would you say to a Black man or a young boy that may have experienced that to see how they can like overcome that type of feeling of rejection?
Um, I would say the path to success with anything is not linear. I would say that because, never that just means like don't give up. Like it's gonna be ups and downs with everything you go through, and especially if self-improvement, like our relationship with God, our relationship with our spouses, there's nothing that you can really do that just it's a straight line to success.
Mhm.
You're not supposed to give up in a sense.
Mhm.
Um, Maybe that person just wasn't receptive at the time, and maybe you can try at a different time. Sometimes you just gotta ask people, do they have the time to be there for you? Because sometimes we think it might be rejection, but it's not really that. It's just, everybody's busy and they have their own lives. So it's just one of those um, pivot to somebody else.
Mhm.
Pivot to somebody else and just don't stop trying because it's over 1 billion people on this earth, and I can guarantee you at least 100 of them want to support you on your mental health path, your spiritual path, whatever path you want to go on to better yourself. Because we're all really supposed to, meant to support each other in a way.
Mhm. Very, very, very true. And I loved that you said, sometimes people may not have the time. It's the hustle culture is very toxic. And when a lot of us are having like a lot of just surface conversation, like, oh, how are you doing? Oh, I'm fine. I pushed past, I did this, I did that. But when it's really time to like really unload your emotions, you don't want to just do that unprecedented. So a good practice I start doing with my friends is, hey, can I vent to you for a few minutes? If there's something really heavy on my chest. And sometimes
Mhm.
it's hard for people to say that. And like, they say yes, they say no, or like, oh, I can't do it right now, but I'm free after 7 p.m. Okay, that's fine. I'll write in my journal, I'll listen to my music, and I will call you at 7. And to some people, that may seem awkward that you're scheduling a time to like talk to your friends, but everyone individually is dealing with something. So to also put your stuff on top of theirs, you really should ask permission, you know? So I
Mhm.
think that is a good rule of practice.
I
And
have
as
to do
well,
that
so,
with my mom. I even have to do that with mom. Like, mom, I can't listen to you right now. And it's not
mm,
personal. It's just I gotta continue to decompress myself to have an opening space for you to actually hear what you're saying with
mm-hmm,
compassion and empathy in a sense too.
right, right. Has it been like, has it been hard to set boundaries with family members since you've been on this path to be a mental health therapist?
Um, I wouldn't say no. It's kind of been who I am my whole life in a sense. It's like I always know how to have healthy boundaries and distance with people and not let people overstep them. Like certain people just know not to invite me to certain things. They just know he's not gonna do that. Don't even ask him because I have no problem being by myself. I have
Mm-hmm.
no problem like, uh talking to you at another time if you're mad at me, and I'm not gonna like really just disconnect from you, but I'm always gonna make time for myself
Mm-hmm.
because at the end of the day, we all are responsible for our own well-being.
True. Very, very true. We're all responsible for our own well-being and recognizing what are our triggers, but also what helps heals us as well too. A lot of
Absolutely.
times that what happens is that people expect other people to like take care of them a lot of times. And
Hmm.
like we said before, like that's a heavy responsibility to place on, family members and friends. And yes, God has told us to like, care for your neighbors as much as you care as yourself. But there's also like self accountability as well too. And I do teach that a lot whenever I'm doing therapy with clients. So, what are some of like the therapeutic techniques that you're doing in your sessions?
I enjoy open questions.
Mhm.
I think, in order to really problem solve, we just need to spend some time thinking on the problem and figuring out what what causes us to like think differently or change our perspective on the problem or look at it from a different angle. Sometimes, we like you said, we want somebody else to solve our problems or not take accountability for our actions and can only see it one way. And if you just, you know, think what part did you play in this? Or for instance, could be a question to the point where you realize like if you remove yourself from the problem, like you played a part in it too.
Hmm.
You gotta look from the outside in.
Yes, definitely. I definitely tell my patients, I'm like, I am not a sugarcoat therapist. You can tell me the situation, I'm gonna listen, and then I'm gonna ask you, okay, so what could you have done differently? Well, it wasn't my problem, it was their problem. Are you sure? Because I'm not blaming you that it's your problem. I'm just saying let's look at it a different way. you know? Because that's again taking care of the self accountability piece as well too. So just being like very direct with our patients.
Mhm.
Because at least when I was taught in grad schools, it was like, oh, you don't want to confront them, but that seems a little too tiptoey for me, especially for the population that I work with, which is primarily young adults. And you definitely have to be a direct person. It's like, hey, let's cool down for a second. All right. I understand your feelings. We're getting this time to like vent it off your chest, but let's try to reframe what this situation might have been like.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I like taking a whole solution-based approach too. Is like kind of working your way backwards. Like, what if it was going like this? What
Mhm.
would be actually taking place that would make this, the outcome you want, you know? And then that kind of makes the client think like how the shift that needs to be taking place within our the way they can handle the problem, or they wish they would have handled the problem in a sense.
Right. Definitely. I definitely agree. So, what is like one piece of advice you would give to a Black man in particular or anyone that is hesitant to seek mental health support?
My one piece of advice would be that you are strong when you allow yourself to be vulnerable to yourself, and see yourself in its totality. You don't have to push past every problem or push past every emotion because it just builds up in you. So you can be strong just by being allowing yourself to be vulnerable in a sense that like I didn't like that. You don't have to let things out with anger. Sometimes you can just let it out and be done with it. But if you don't let it out, it's just gonna, continue to weigh on you. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just be strong to being vulnerable. It takes true strength to, be strong to to see it strong enough to see your emotions,
Mm-hmm.
what they are.
Beautiful, beautiful. Be strong enough to accept your emotions and be vulnerable. That is definitely a beautiful piece of advice I would give. honestly, particularly to Black men, because this is more especially counted towards Black men and boys, so that we can raise them up in a non-toxic society. Just let them know like it is okay to feel your emotions. It is okay to take time for yourself because there's a lot of conversation on caring for Black women, of course. And I feel like there needs to be a lot more conversation on, our Black men and boys and making sure that they are okay.
Absolutely. I think, if we actually, it just balance in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Women are just going to continue to push past men if they don't find a man that, helps balance them out. But the man has to be balanced as well.
Awesome, awesome. So, Rashad, thank you so much for sharing your insights and experience and your heart with us today. Lastly, how can people get in contact with you to receive more information to help to get you in for therapy?
Well, like you said, I'm part of You Can Too counseling. So I would prefer you reach out to me via email r Washington at youcan2counseling.com. I'll be delighted to work with all men, especially Black men, so we can build our community and just work on self-development and, raise loving, happy families.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful night.
Thank you. You have a good one.
Don't log off.